What's really the difference between just a dream and an actual goal? Well, it's a plan. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can turn those big, ambitious visions of yours into something real, all through the simple but super powerful act of planning. So let's dive in.
All right, let me ask you something straight up. Do you feel like you're in the driver's seat of your future, or are you just kind of letting things happen? Leaving it all to chance? The difference, more often than not, boils down to having a solid, well-thought-out plan. It's all about being proactive instead of just reacting to whatever life throws at you.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll get on the same page about what planning really is. Then, we'll look at the different levels, from the big picture strategy all the way down to the nitty-gritty daily stuff. We'll also dig into the fundamental rules that make a plan actually work. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this is all such a massive deal. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, first things first. Let's really get to the heart of it. What do we mean when we say planning? It's a word we throw around all the time, right? But to really get it, we need to peel back the layers and see that it has two different but super important sides to it.
Look, there's a world of difference between just having an idea and having a real plan. An idea? That's the spark, It's like a quick doodle on a napkin. But a plan? A plan is the actual architect's blueprint. It's a detailed system with specific methods, concrete measures, the whole shebang, all designed to hit a very specific target.
And when you have a good plan, the payoff is just massive. I'm talking saving time, avoiding those painful, costly mistakes, and setting goals that are crystal clear. But honestly, the real superpower of planning, the thing that changes everything, it gives you the chance to make smart decisions before the pressure is on. That right there is how you grab the wheel and take control of your future instead of just being a passenger.
Now, it's really important to get this. Planning isn't just one single thing you do. It's more like a hierarchy, a stack of plans. The best way to think about it is like a set of maps. You've got your globe for the big picture, your country map for the regional view, and then your detailed city map to find a specific street. Each one is absolutely crucial. They're just showing you a different level of detail. So let's start at the top with that big world view. So way up at the top, you have what's called strategic planning. This is that 30,000-foot view we were just talking about. This isn't about the tasks for next Tuesday. Nope. This is about asking, where is this entire company, this entire organization headed in the next 3, 5, even 10 years? It's the big guiding North Star for everyone. And listen, this isn't just daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's a serious, structured process. First, you've got to define that vision. Where do you want to fit in the market, especially in a dynamic place like the Saudi market? Next, you do a deep dive, a real gut check on your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You've probably heard of this. It's the classic SWOT analysis. And only after all that homework do you set those big concrete goals and make the key decisions that will steer the ship.
Okay, so once you have your destination, that's your strategy, you need to figure out the route. That's the next level down, tactical planning. This is where that huge grand vision starts to get real. It gets broken down into medium-term, totally actionable goals for each specific department. What's the marketing team's mission for the next year? What about sales? This is the bridge between the dream and the doing.
And finally, we zoom all the way into that street-level map. This is operational planning. We're talking about the here and now. What has to get done today? What's on the agenda for this week? Who's in charge of what? This is where all that high-level strategy finally turns into a daily to-do list. It's what makes sure the actual work, gets done.
Okay, so we've got our three levels: strategic, tactical, and operational. But let's be honest, having those levels doesn't automatically mean success. So what's the secret sauce? What separates a plan that works from one that just gathers dust? Well, it comes down to a set of core principles. Think of them as the unbreakable rules of the road for getting things done. First up, the principle of precision. This is a big one. If you build your plan on a foundation of real, hard data, you're going to make clear, effective decisions. But if you're just winging it, relying on guesswork and making it up as you go, well, that's a fast track to confusion and mistakes. The bottom line here is simple. Plan with facts, not just gut feelings.
Next up, we have feasibility. And look, I know this one sounds super obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people fall into this trap. Your plan has to be grounded in reality. It has to be something you can actually achieve with the people, the money, and the time that you have. A big, ambitious plan? That's awesome. That's inspiring. But an impossible plan? That's just a recipe for frustration and a total waste of everyone's time.
Okay, this next one is absolutely critical. A plan isn't supposed to be some rigid set of instructions carved in stone. It has to be flexible. Why? Because the world doesn't stand still. Competitors make moves, markets shift, crazy new technologies pop up overnight. Your plan has to be a living, breathing document that can roll with the punches and adapt to all that change.
Then there's the whole idea of alignment. You can break this down into two key parts. The first is unity. This just means every single department, every team is pointed towards the exact same goal. No one's off doing their own thing. The second part is cohesion. This means all the pieces of the plan actually fit together, like a puzzle. The right things are happening at the right time. When you get both right, you've got everyone in the boat rowing in perfect sync in the same direction.
All right, let's say you've done it. You've built a plan that's precise, realistic, flexible, and everyone's aligned. Awesome. But how do you keep it that way? How do you make sure it doesn't just fizzle out after a few months? That's where this next set of principles comes into play. These are all about keeping that plan alive and kicking for the long haul. So, to keep that momentum going, you need to focus on three things constantly. Number one, real deep commitment from every single person on the team. If people don't believe in the plan, it's just words on a page. Number two, you need the courage to change strategy when it's not working. No plan is perfect forever. You have to be willing to revisit it, tweak it, or even overhaul it when things change. And number three, you have to be like a detective, always hunting for the limiting factor, that one single thing that's slowing you down the most, and then focus all your energy on getting rid of that bottleneck. Wow. Okay. We have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? We've gone from that massive 30,000-foot strategic view all the way down to the nuts and bolts of making it happen. So let's take a breath and tie it all together. Let's ask the most important question of all. Why does any of this actually matter? It matters because it all boils down to this simple number. We've just walked through 8 essential principles, 8 powerful ideas, from being precise and realistic to being flexible and committed. And these aren't just abstract theories from a textbook. No way. These are the practical, real-world rules for taking any big goal you have and actually making it happen.
I think this quote from our source material just nails it. It says, "Well-studied planning allows you to accurately define objectives and control the future by knowing how to achieve it." Think about that. Good planning isn't about having a crystal ball to predict the future. It's about creating the future you want. It's about giving yourself the power to say, this is where we're going, and then having the roadmap to actually get there. That is the ultimate form of control.
So, I'm going to leave you with a final question. A challenge, really. You now have the framework. You have the rules of the road. So, what are you going to do with it? What's the very first goal, I don't care if it's huge or tiny, that you're going to apply this kind of thinking to starting today, starting